This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
The following program is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statement of fact expressed in the following program are strictly those of the host and their guests and are not to be construed as those of rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, their affiliated companies, networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
And welcome to our show, Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. Hey, we're so glad for you to be here and listening to us, and we've got a very, very exciting show for you. We actually talk directly with spirits. Myself, Tim, and Justina, we actually channel spirit guides, and it's just amazing what we can do. Our clients come to us, we connect with Justina's guides, then we connect with our clients' guides, and then the magic begins. So during this process, it's just amazing. It really is. We're discussing all kinds of things. We can discuss like big world issues or universal questions that people have. And we're going to be discussing things about the spirit world. So you can hear this, and it's not like a tarot card reading or anything like that. We're actually speaking directly to entities that exist in the spirit world, and they're talking to us. And what do you feel about that, Justina? Go ahead and chime in right there.
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to our show and welcome to our first segment here. And yeah, as Tim stated, we talk directly to spirit guides, which is different than a lot of ways people actually talk to their guides. I mean, people's guides are around them every single day and they're always with you, but you usually can't talk directly to them like we do. And basically with our work here, we just want to help share information to you guys, the listeners, and help people get their questions answered, both big and small.
Yeah, and about our show, we're going to be doing a lot of different things. We're actually going to be, like in our show today, discussing what you can do. We're going to be talking about what a spirit guide is, and we're going to be actually doing live channeling sessions. So we're going to be doing these channeling sessions between myself and Justina, and then also we're going to have outside people come in that we invite to the show, and they can come on in, and we're going to actually just run through a session with these people, just answering their questions, or if they have physical difficulties, we're going to be working through those physical difficulties. So you can get a great idea about how these guides actually help us. The goal of our sessions is basically to help people to share information and collect universal knowledge. We all are interested in a lot of things like that. So before we get into that, that's just a bit about the show. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. I actually have a bachelor's of science degree in computer science. So actually both myself and Justina are pretty technical. Our backgrounds are. And I've been a hypnotist since 2005. And I work with people with emotional, habitual, and physical problems. And when you conduct a hypnosis session, there's one thing that tends to get in the way. And that one thing is the analytical, thinking, conscious mind. And basically what myself and Justine are doing is we're using kind of a modified hypnosis way, like a procedure. And what it is, and it took me over 3 years to develop this, is getting rid of that thinking conscious mind. It actually is guided into the sleep state. So the person is sleeping. And then I can directly talk to the person's subconscious mind. Now that's really great doing therapy work. You can fix things very quickly. But what we've discovered is by getting rid of that thinking conscious mind and talking directly with the subconscious mind, once that's done, the wall between the physical and the non-physical is gone. So you can call forward spirit guides, you can connect with deceased loved ones, all kinds of great, amazing things. So that's a little bit about me. And Justina, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
So as Tim stated, I actually have a very scientific background. I graduated from college with a degree in chemistry and actually had minors in psychology and criminal justice. I actually worked in a lab for a really long time doing chemistry work. But more of my spiritual background is I've known since a very little age that I've been different than most people. When I was young, my parents actually would see me and listen to me talking to know what they were, and I was actually talking to spirits and ghosts and making friends with these spirits, and they really didn't know what was going on. But as I grew up, they figured out that I had abilities that most people didn't have and that I'm a psychic. And it's actually pretty interesting since my grandma was actually very psychic and my great-grandmother was actually a practicing psychic in England. So I guess it's just kind of in our background that we're going to be psychics and in our family line. But just a little bit about how I communicate with spirit.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Hi, welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. And just before that break, Justina was telling us really some very interesting things about her past, her childhood. Justina, could you pick that up again about, how you were talking with spirits as a child?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, from a young age, my parents wondered who I was talking to. And the interesting thing about that is I actually would call my spirit guide when I was young to come play with me. And they actually thought it was my imaginary friend, but it was actually my spirit guide. But just a little bit more about how I communicate with spirits now is I do conduct the session work, but I also can communicate with spirits directly when I'm awake. So if someone's loved one is deceased, I can basically communicate with them just as if I was having a conversation with someone right in front of me. And sometimes I also can see them. So that's just a little bit background about Tim and I. So let's get into what exactly spirit guides are.
Yeah, exactly. What are spirit guides? A great place to start. What a spirit guide is we, all of us, every single person has at least one spirit that is assigned to you. And a lot of us have more than one spirit guide, but we all have at least one spirit guide who's like your team leader that will be with you your entire life. And Justina, how many guides do you think we all have? I mean, I know it's at least one.
Yeah, so each person has a different number of spirit guides. So that's one of the questions we actually go over in session is how many total spirit guides a person has. So for example, Tim actually has 9 spirit guides, but other people could have 1, 2, up to basically infinity of spirit guides that will protect them throughout their lives. And the number of spirit guides does change. So at one time in a person's life, they may have 5, but when they're older, they may have 7. And also with spirit guides, they can either already have lived a physical life or they may have always been in the spirit world. So these spirit guides are each basically individuals that have different pasts, either in the physical world here or in the spiritual world. Tim,
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about these spirit guides?
Yeah, we think of a spirit guide as like being this upper level divine being. And usually the main guide is, but we all have different guides. For instance, one of my spirit guides is my sister who passed away in 2009. And her developmental level is different than my main spirit guide, and his name is Roman. So they all are actually on different developmental levels. And when you talk to them, what's interesting, one thing that we've noticed is they're very literal. Like when I speak with a spirit guide, I don't want to use a metaphor, okay? Because that's just not going to work. And also the information that we receive is also literal. So you have to really keep that in mind. And basically, spirit guides and spirits, they're different than us. Us as human beings, we have emotions. We all have emotions. That's like a base for the human race. But spirit guides don't have emotion. They actually work off of energy. So even when we're thanking them at the end of a session, if I were to try to, send them, helpful, happy feelings, thank you so much, they can feel the energy of that, but the emotions, they're really not interpreted the same way that we get them. And Justina, talk a little bit about the gatekeepers and the Akashic records. That's another very interesting topic.
So sometimes when we talk to the guides, they actually either pause and ask if they can say this information to the gatekeepers. So the gatekeepers are responsible for all the information, past, present, and future. They guard the information so that not too much information goes into the world. For example, if you ask a question, if you're going to win the lottery tomorrow, they will not tell you yes or no, since this may change your path. Obviously, your path is already written, but there is free will and there is choice in this. So the gatekeepers basically protect the records and will only allow the guides to say as much information as they can. So some questions you ask may get information back, such as we cannot tell you at this time, or it is not the right time to tell you this information. So basically, you can think of the gatekeepers as people who protect the vaults, like guardians of the vaults of all the information. And this relates to questions asked in a session. More direct questions about someone's path may not always be answered, since the guides do not want to change the future.
Right, but they have a good way. If you ask the right questions, you'll get more and more information. We've noticed that a lot of times they just don't cough up everything. So you have to I kind of barter with them, to be honest with you. And by doing that, you actually do gain a whole lot of information. You really do. But they're not going to step in and wave a magic wand and all that stuff, because you have to realize that where we are in life, in the earth plane, we're all kind of in a school, you can call it Earth School, and we're down here and we're collecting we're collecting information, and we're moving along, we're making our own choices, and dependent upon those choices, it's going to steer you one way or another, and it's also going to influence other people around you. So by and large, the guides aren't going to come in and say, yeah, you're going to want to do this. They'll give you really good insight into that. However, they will actually help you in a direct way, like, hey, should I sell my house and move over here, or should I rent my house and move over there? And they might come in and say, well, it'd probably be better for you to sell that house. Renting the house is going to be too cumbersome for you, and you have a lot going on right now. So it's kind of exacting, and it's kind of not. It's kind of a mixed bag a little bit. And a question that we get quite a bit is, what is your process? I mean, how do you do this? And so we can talk a little bit about that. The first thing that we do before every session is protection. And Justina, can you tell everybody a little bit about how we do that?
Yeah. So as Tim stated, our process is something someone asks a lot about is, how do we actually conduct a session? So before the session actually starts with the client either on the phone or on Skype, we actually set up protection. As a lot of people know that working with spirits can be kind of dangerous at times. People believe that portals are opened up and just negative things can happen. So we want to make sure that this does not happen, that only positive entities, the spirit guides, and only positive things are around us at all times during the sessions. So for the protection, we actually have a prayer at first, and then we call in our angels and our guides, and those also protect us. We put these in the four corners of our rooms, both Tim and I's, and these will actually protect our entire room. And then we ask that only positive entities are present, since of course we do not want anything negative during the session.
Right, and it's super important to do that. And so we set up the protection. We're like totally veiled in this protective white light. And then the next step is to place Justina, to guide her into the special state of mind. And I have to tell you, Justina is like, she's a superstar. She's a rock star. I mean, she is so amazing at this. And I think she is because of her abilities that she already has. But with us working together, it only takes about a minute or a minute and a half to get Justina into the perfect mental state. Her thinking, analytical conscious mind is sleeping, and her subconscious mind is listening to every single word. And then it's easy. It's like, can I please speak with Justina's spirit guide? Usually, her main guide shows up, and her main guide's name is Comets. And Comets is usually there. And then we have our client with us on the telephone or on Skype. And then we just simply say, hey, can you please connect with client spirit guides, please? They say yes. Are they here? Yes, they are. Now we're ready to go. So this is where it all begins. And what we do is our client has already given us the questions that they'd like to cover. So we jump into that. I usually have the guides do a complete physical body scan, scanning the inside of the body. And even sometimes they've come up with problems that the person didn't even know about. And then, of course, if our client had like physical issues that they wanted to work on, we will then approach those and we'll jump into those. So we've got all the guides present, and we're going through those questions, we're getting answers, and if there's healing, we go ahead and we work through the healing. And we'll talk a little bit more later in the show exactly how we do that, because there's a lot of steps to that. And one exciting part that's newer to us, and I'll let you talk about this a little bit, Justina. His first name is Edgar. There's your setup right there.
So yeah, as Tim stated, we actually had a session with Edward. Casey actually came into the session and introduced himself to us. And it was actually funny because he told Tim to call him Ed instead.
Yeah.
So that was actually really, really eventful for us, is to have basically the person who started sleep hypnosis and going into a sleep stage actually come. So we are now conducting the work he started in our own way, obviously, but we are going into the records and we are looking at a person's record book. And from there, we are giving them different solutions. So
Yeah.
for example, if someone needs to have sage in their life, they will say the guides will talk to Ed, Ed will talk to the guides, and they will during session say, you know, you have to do this with your life or this remedy in your life. And this also helps the healing go so much quicker and continues the work he started.
Yeah, and I just got an idea while you were talking. You know, Edgar Casey was known as the sleeping prophet. Well, the new sleeping prophet is Justina. Seriously, because that's what we're doing, isn't it? I mean, your conscious mind is sleeping and you're totally connected with spirit. And we're going through our regular healing protocol that, like I said, we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But then after that, we go to the gatekeepers, the keepers of the Akashic records, and we ask, can we go in? Will you allow Justina in? Yes. And Ed, can you be there with Justina? Yes, I'm here. And then I usually turn it over to Ed. And I said, well, please take over right now. And he'll look at the records and he'll do what he was doing in life. I mean, think of that. Let's just pause for a moment. This is big stuff. You know what I mean? This is really big stuff. I mean, we're working with Edgar Casey. I mean, it's amazing. We're just blown away. And he's showing up every single session. So, hey, if you want to do a session with us and or Edgar, just go to lightworkers.cc and you can do it. It's so cool. So, Justina, what kind of information do the guides give our clients? What kind of things that they'll give them?
So we'll cover this more later after the break, but just a little preview of the information that clients can receive is any information that's day to day. So any day-to-day questions they have about their love life, about their spouse, about either career, any questions they have, as Tim stated before, also health questions, universal questions also, which we will cover in the show more, and connecting to dead loved ones, and also pets.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, soul balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. Before the break here, we were discussing our session work. Tim, do you want to pick up on this?
Yeah, I'd like to get just a little deeper into how we do what we do. So we have our clients coming in, let's say they have physical issues like, oh, my back is thrown out, or I have to go to for back surgery, or something like that, or even emotional issues. Could be panic attacks, depression, a whole slew of different emotional issues. What I do is I'll first ask the question, or we'll talk about the exact physical problem, and then there's some things that we need to cover. So the first thing is this problem in direct result or connected to a spiritual attachment? Yes or no? Now, what a spiritual attachment is, it's either a deceased person or it's an energy that could be very negative, or a demon even, an energy that's never had a physical body or an identity. And what they do is they connect with people. Deceased people basically use us as a battery because they need energy. And most of the time, they're not trying to influence us, but they do. So, guides, is this problem, does so-and-so have a spiritual attachment? Yes or no? If they say yes, the guides will clear it away very quickly. Once in a while, they've had to bring in archangels, higher ups, because the attachment was really a kind of a big, bad, negative kind of thing. Okay, and that happens occasionally. A second question is, does this problem relate to karma? Now, karma is basically, it's like payback. Like if you did something in a past life, well, you need to pay that back. So is it related to karma? Yes or no? If they say yes, then I'll ask, is the karma, has it been paid off? And a strange thing with that is sometimes they'll say, yes, it's been paid off, but it's still there. You have to ask to get it removed. So we do. The next place I go is, does the problem have to do with this person's life chart? Now, what a life chart is before you were born, you sat down with some other spirits and you decided what challenges that you wanted to face in this life. And some people bite off more than they can chew. I'm telling you. So, oh yeah, give me a couple of horrible parents, and later in life, give me terminal cancer. I'm not kidding. I've heard that more than a few times. So if it's in the life chart, like if somebody's been in pain for the last 15 years, but they chose pain, then I barter with them. I'm like, well, they've had this pain for a long time. Have they learned some lessons from the pain? And usually it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, can we change that? So we go into that aspect of it. And then another part is, does this problem have anything to do with a past life or several past lives? Believe it or not, that comes up a lot. That comes up so much. And why I like it, if they say yes, is because the guides every single time will disconnect it. And sometimes they'll just disconnect the connection with the past life. And other times you need to know what took place. So you have to kind of roll through it and learn about it. And besides this, with the healing, if the listeners are interested in past lives, come on in. I'm telling you, because your guides know everything about you, not only in this life, but in every single past life you've ever lived. My last two past lives, I was a soldier and I was killed in World War I and World War II. So I'm going to steer clear of going to war. And then the next piece is in hypnosis. When I do hypnosis sessions with people, usually I'm looking for something called the initial sensitizing event. And what that is an event that's usually in early childhood, and connected with the event is some kind of negative emotion. And that negative emotion has been building throughout their whole life. It gets bigger, and then all of a sudden it manifests into the problem. So the guides can find that and they can clear it away. So I hope that gives you a little insight into this. It's not just, questions and answers. We really do dig in pretty well. And Justina, can you talk a little bit about like the session work and that kind of aspect to what we do?
Yeah, Tim. So for our length of our sessions, we actually do different lengths of sessions depending on how much information someone wants to know. If it's a physical problem, we just offer different lengths so that all your questions can be answered. So usually our sessions are done in 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes. So on our website at lightworkers.cc, you can actually go on there and see an example of how many questions are per the different time lengths, and if it includes a physical healing and all the things we offer. But some other sessions that I mentioned before that we offer are actually working with pets. So take my dog, for example. We adopted him, and when we adopted him, we knew nothing about him. All we knew is that he was a stray at one point in his life, and that he was approximately 3 years old. But when we got him, we realized he did have some anxiety issues. He liked to follow my mom around the house, and he just would be really hyper at times, and we couldn't understand why. He also had fears of going under a kitchen table, and he just didn't like to lay down and just be by himself. Well, Tim and I actually conducted a session with my dog and went in and actually asked the guides, what's going on? Why is he acting this way? And we found out that my dog actually was physically abused before when he was a puppy, and this is what was leading to all the different issues. So the guides helped me basically make sure that my dog felt loved and that he was safe in this home and that he didn't have to follow my mom around all the time to be safe, that he was okay. So this is something that we can do for pets to help them with their issues that they're suffering from and just make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, they help my dog Bernie as well. So that's great. Yeah, we also clear haunted houses, haunted locations, which is pretty cool. And, if you think about that, if some kind of priest comes in and casts out a demon, so to speak, you got to wonder, well, where is that demon going? Are they going next door? I mean, what's happening? Well, the way the guides do it is they actually are helping that spirit. So whether it's a deceased person that didn't cross over or it's actually demonic, either way, they're really helping out that spirit. So we do that. We do sessions for general information about a person's life. We answer universal questions, and as we had already talked about, we work with people with physical and mental challenges. So we do a lot of that type of work as well. And, we wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about what our clients can discover. There's a long list here. I don't know if we're going to make it through the whole thing, but I'll name a few and then I'll give it over to Justina. She can talk a little bit about it. But, you can learn all about your spirit guides. How many do I have? What are their names? How do they communicate with me? As I stated, physical healing, even miracle healing. And I'm talking about terminally ill people or people that are going in for surgery no longer need that. And you'll get great wisdom and insight into what you can do to be a healthy person. We can also connect with deceased loved ones, people in our families that have crossed over. It's so easy. All we have to do is speak their first and last name, and they're there. Just that quick. And once in a while, in session, I'll instead of speaking with Justina's guide, I'll ask her guide to kind of sit to the side and bring in that deceased person, first person. And just think about that for a second. I mean, really. I know a lot of the listeners have somebody in their family that they love that's passed away. Wouldn't you just absolutely love to sit down on the couch for 5 minutes and talk to that person again? I mean, really? Well, you can. And that's what we do. That's another thing that we do. We get questions answered, guidance for your life, all kinds of things like that. Universal knowledge, like the history of the world or the future. Earth changes, like the Earth has been it's been going through changes. Like the climate is different, and like I live in Michigan. Last couple of days, it's been almost 60 degrees. So what's up with that? Well, you can find out what's up with that. And Justina, why don't you talk a little bit about past lives? That's an interesting topic.
So the guides actually know everything about you. So they know about your past lives and any information about them. So it's really interesting. Clients come and say, oh, well, I have this fear of heights and I don't know why I'm afraid of heights. I've never had something in this life that would explain it. And then the guides will actually tell them about that past life and that in this past life, this happened and this is now why you're afraid of heights. So it's really interesting about how this past stuff actually affects you now and your life now.
Yeah.
So the guides will talk about these past lives and give information. They will say who you were sometimes, what era you lived in, what you actually did in that life, your husband, wife, your children, basically all the information about those past lives. And as Tim mentioned before, we also do check to make sure if there are any spiritual attachments on clients, even when it is not just a healing situation. So when a client comes in, the guides usually say right away, yes, this person has a spiritual attachment. No, they don't. And as Tim stated before, they actually help the spiritual attachment go into the light. So it not only helps the client, but it also helps the spirit, demon, ghost, whatever they are, actually go in and actually feel better as well.
Yeah.
A couple other popular things we do in sessions and topics we cover is actually if your space is haunted, as we stated before, or about that if you need any psychic abilities activated. So this is actually very interesting for me since I actually went into a session and Tim actually asked for me to activate any other psychic abilities I had. So this could help someone if they had some ability, some intuition, something that they knew they had, but they want to make sure it's completely activated. Another interesting topic is what are my blocks in life? So the guides can actually remove some of these blocks or give advice about these blocks. So for example, if someone is struggling with a career, they feel like their career is not moving forward, they feel like something's in the way, the guides either can completely remove this block or they can give insight about what the person can do to move forward with their career.
Right. And we get some popular questions that our clients ask us, like, what is my purpose in this lifetime? Why am I here? Am I on the right path? How many times have I reincarnated? How can I find my soulmate? Checking up on deceased loved ones, as we've talked about, releasing emotional, habitual, and physical problems, relationship questions, and then, day-to-day stuff like employment, career guidance. We just did a session like this where this person had like 4 different choices. He couldn't make up his mind what to do, and the guides came forward, told him exactly what he should do, and that, is very, very helpful. Very helpful. Personal life choices. Should I move? Or legal questions. Family relationships.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina. Before the break, we were discussing sessions and what we actually discuss in the sessions. But now Tim and I would like to discuss more about our future shows and what type of topics you can expect. So just to name a few topics, we're going to have shows about ghosts, aliens, different conspiracy theories, which are one of my favorite topics to discuss, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and many more. Tim, do you want to give a little insight about a few of these topics?
Yeah. I mean, in our show, we're going to be talking like we are right now. We're also going to be having some clients come in and doing real live channeling sessions. And then between myself and Justina, we're going to cover these topics. And all of these are just so interesting, like Bigfoot. I mean, you've seen TV shows, right? They've found like the foot, casted the footprint, but nobody's ever found a skeleton. Well, why is that? I kind of think Bigfoot is like interdimensional, extra dimensional. I don't know, but guess what? The guides do know. Also, Planet X. there's a topic for you. Go on YouTube. You'll find probably thousands of videos where people, this rogue planet is flying in and it's going to orbit around Earth and the sun. And when it does, it's just going to totally mess us up. Well, is it? Is that planet real? Let's find out. So tune into a future episode. Yeah, ghosts, aliens. Justina and I already know aliens are real, but we can talk about it. We'll talk about it so you can make up your own mind, actually. What about the Loch Ness Monster? All these topics of our world, are they real? And if they're real, can we get some information about them? Creatures in different cultures. What about cattle being eaten or sucked dry of blood or mutilated? Who did that? I mean, who did that? Why did that take place? Was it just some human doing that? Or did an alien come in and do that? Or is it some extra dimensional creature that did that? Well, we'll find out. And Justina, why don't you talk about like the Earth, the vibrational frequencies of Earth and that type of thing?
Yeah, so some of our other topics are going to be the Earth going to a higher vibrational frequency. So I'm sure, like Tim said, there's so many different videos about all these topics, but what are the answers? And since we can talk directly to the guides, why don't we try to get some of these answers? What about less corruption in the world? I know a hot topic right now has been the election, the different protests, all the different changes in the world right now. Why don't we ask the guides? Why don't we share the information we get from the guides and see what exactly is going on and what the future holds for everyone? What about these different things about the space programs and Mars and all these different things you hear in the news that are coming up? Also, what about ancient different things like the pyramids? Why is rain eroding on the Sphinx? Why were we told that the pyramids were made with man-made equipment, but we can't make the pyramids today? What made the pyramids? Who made the pyramids? And how did they make the pyramids? Also, what about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Are there more of them? What is actually in them? What about the Library of Alexandria? Is that preserved somewhere? Are the rumors true that it's in the Vatican? What's going on with this topic?
Yeah, exactly. There's, if you think about it, Justina, there are so many topics that are just shrouded in mystery. I mean, there's hundreds of them, and, the things that we're even told, are they lying to us? Is it real? Is it not real? Like the Vatican City, the City of London, self-governed, entity, the Vatican. I mean, what's going on there? What's happening there? Washington, D.C., is that a district? It's not a state. I mean, there's little things to look at. There's huge things to look at. What about JFK or JFK Jr.? I mean, what's up with that? Really what happened? I'd like to know. I think a lot of people would like to know. I mean, it happened a long time ago, but there are so many things in the world, and the spirit guides, they have all knowledge. They have all knowledge. The only things that we have to work around is those Akashic records, the certain things that they're not going to tell us. But by and large, they are going to tell us a lot. And we're going to gear a lot of our shows directly to these important points. And Justina, you had said, you told me something before the show today that I thought was a great idea. How about having our listeners contact us? You can go to lightworkers.cc if you have a show idea or a comment on one of our shows. Of course, if you want to work with us as well, we're there. But if you have any show ideas, or this is what happens sometimes, we're in the show, we've asked questions, and then as a listener, you're listening, all of a sudden you're like, dang, why didn't they ask this? Oh man, I really want to know. Well, just get a hold of us. And you know what? We'll bring it up. and we'll go over it. We're not going to catch everything, that's for sure. So basically, there's so many things. And Justina, what about the purpose of Donald Trump? I'll hand it back to you.
So this is a hot issue right now. I mean, I know people on one side or the other of the debate right now. But what's going on with Donald Trump becoming president? I mean, obviously, he's been voted in as president here in the United States, but how is that going to affect the world? How is that going to affect the people here? Or what about climate change? What is the truth about it? Is some machine somewhere making climate change? Is it the earth going through its normal cycle? Is it from pollution? I mean, I'm a big supporter of the environment, but is pollution really the source here? How can we help the environment? How can we help the animals, even if it isn't causing this climate change? And to go to one of my personal favorite topics, what about the Mandela effect? That has been everywhere lately about Nelson Mandela when he died, and then this whole effect, which I'm sure the listeners probably know about already, where people believe something happened one way, but now it's not the same way anymore. And what's going on with that? Is it from a different dimension? Is there something shifting in our dimension? What is going on right now on this planet Earth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could do thousands of shows to get this out. I mean, there's so much out there. There really is. While you were speaking, something else just popped into my mind. The UFO crash at Roswell, right? Oh my goodness. If you've ever followed that story, I mean, they go back and forth on that one. It's like, oh, it was a weather balloon. No, it was a UFO. And then there was a colonel, and I can't remember his name right now, but he wrote a book, and he said for sure that thing did crash. They did recover alien bodies. Well, did they? Did they? Hey, what about 9/11? Should we even venture there? I don't know. Maybe we could ask our listeners, should we venture there or should we leave that one alone? I'm not sure. But there are so many things. So by and large, our show is totally geared for getting information and speaking directly with spirit. And again, just stop and think about how cool it is that you can have a direct conversation with a spirit. I mean, it's not interpreted by anything. It's direct. You're asking a question, you're getting a direct answer. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. It really is. Every session that we conduct, Justina and myself, we're blown away. And every session we learn more and more. We really do. So we're very excited about the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we are here for you. We'd love for you to contact us. We're going to be doing some interviews. We're going to be doing a lot of live channeling sessions and then discussing the information that comes forward. And we're going to be healing people and giving you updates on their healing. So it's really exciting. We're both very, very, very excited for this opportunity, and we can't wait to get down the road a little bit and solve some of these mysteries. What do you think about that, Justina?
Yeah, just to add to Tim's points here, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. And I want to make sure this is an interactive process. So feel free to contact us at our website, lightworkers.cc, and any future topics you want us to ask about, feel free to contact us. Any ideas, any questions, anything like that. Tim and I just want to share the most information possible. And again, if you want to have a session with us, feel free to contact us for that too. But we just want to get information out there about the world. Tim and I get so excited about this information, and we just want to be able to share it with other people too.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to spirits with Lightworkers, Tim and Justina. And that's exactly what we're doing. And you know what? There's so much we didn't even cover tonight. I mean, there are things that are going on with Justina and myself and our team that would just blow you away. We're not going to talk about that right now. It's very exciting. Lots of stuff going on. So thank you very much for tuning in for this show, and we can't wait to see you again every single week. We're going to be doing a whole lot of really great stuff. So thank you once again, and we look forward to doing this yet again.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and wait for upcoming shows.
Yeah.